Hey everybody, tonight is going to be 9.6, the surface area and volume of spheres. It is the last set of notes for chapter 9, so lucky you. We are going to be talking about how to find the surface area and the volumes of the spheres. But before we get into that, I want you to write down this entire thing. It would be a good idea to write down the example there as well, the drawing. Okay, it says, a sphere is the set of all points in space that are a fixed distance from a given point called the center of a sphere. Okay, where a circle, they're going around and they're in a circular fashion in a fixed distance away from the center, but this is going to be the set of all points. Okay, a hemisphere is half of a sphere. So if you look at that shape, the dark green is going to be your sphere. Your radius is still going to be from the point out to any point in that set of all points, okay, in space. Don't worry about the great circle. That's not a big deal. All you need to know is the hemisphere, your center, your radius, and what a sphere actually is. Alright, moving on. So write this down. You need to know this formula. The formula for surface area of a sphere with the radius r is surface area is equal to 4 times pi r squared. So if you know the area of a circle, if you multiply it by 4, you get your surface area of a sphere. So we're going to use this formula in 2 problems. Here we go. It says find the surface area of the sphere to the nearest whole number. So this very first one, remember that the surface area is equal to 4 times pi times r squared. Okay, so you have a diameter here. So given the diameter, find out what the surface area is. Plug in and solve. Give it a shot. Alright, so I know surface area is equal to 4 times pi times r squared. Well, I need to multiply by 4 times pi. Well, if that's my diameter, 50 centimeters is my diameter, I know that my radius is half of my diameter, right? So you multiply that and you square 25. Okay, when you square 25 times 25, what do you come out with? 625. Yep. So then we're multiplying straight across one more time. Again, I like to get it more exact answer by multiplying the numbers first and then multiplying it times pi. So 4 times 625, you get 2,500. Multiply that by by pi, 3.14. You get to the nearest whole number. You come out with 7,850. Now, the units on this, again, we're still talking about surface area. So just like a prism, just like a pyramid, just like a cylinder, okay, you are going to use your unit and squared. Well, we have a unit of centimeters, so we need to plug in centimeters for our unit, and squared. Don't forget your label. Once again, don't forget your label. Okay? I want you to try this one on your own. See what you come up with. Alright, using that same formula of surface area is equal to 4 pi r squared. This time, the example gives you the radius. Okay, it gives you that radius of 8, so we're going to plug 8 in for your r. So you get r squared, multiply r times r, or 8 times 8, and you come out with 64. Now, again, I like to get my exact answer, my numbers with my numbers. I get 4 times 64, I get 256. Still multiplying it times pi. I haven't taken it times pi yet. Once I get to that point, to the nearest whole number, it's about 804 centimeters squared. Again, I don't know how many times I've stressed it. Make sure you get your units squared. unit squared for surface area. Surface area, unit squared. Unit squared, surface area. Got it? Get it? Got it good? Excellent. Okay, halfway done, ladies and gents. Here we go. The volume of a sphere with the radius of r is volume equals 4/3 times pi times r cubed. Okay, just like your units in pyramids and cylinders are cubed. Same thing with the volume of a sphere. You cube your radius, which means you have to cube your units. Now, notice it does say 4/3. Okay, this could also look like 4 pi r to the third and divide it by 3. If you multiply this straight across on top, then divide by 3 in the end, you will get the exact same answer. So it doesn't matter if you want to type in 4 divided by 3, then multiply it straight across. That's okay. Otherwise, multiply 4 straight across, then divide your answer by 3. Okay, so now it says find the volume of the sphere or hemisphere. Okay, so this one we know is that a sphere or a hemisphere. You got it. It is a sphere. A sphere is going to be that entire circle, or sorry, not circle, but that entire solid that looks kind of like a tennis ball. Okay, your hemisphere is that solid cut in half. So we have a sphere here, plugging in our formula of V equals 4/3 times pi times radius cubed. Using that formula, please solve for your volume. Alright, again, this example gives us the entire distance. Okay, the entire distance going through the center gives us our diameter. But we don't want our diameter. We want a radius. So how do you find, if you're given a diameter, how do you find your radius? You got it. Divide by 2. So you get 4/3 times pi times 12 cubed. When you cube 12, you come out with an answer of 4/3 times pi times 1,728. Okay, again, you could take 4 divided by 3 and multiply it by 1,728. I like to take 4 times 1,728, divide that by 3, still keeping my pi in there, and I get 2,304 times pi. If you didn't get 2,304 times pi, okay, go back on your calculator, plug it back in, and see if you can get it. Okay, so now you get 2,304 times pi. When you multiply it and you want to round to the nearest whole number, you get about 7,235. Now, what is your unit on volume? Just like it was for cylinders, just like it was for prisms, just like it was for pyramids. Okay, you get, and just like, don't forget about cones. Gotta love cones. Okay, just like it was for cones, you got to take your units and square them. So you get inches, or sorry, not units and square them. Take your units and cube them, so it's inches cubed. All right. This is the last one. I want to see if you can challenge yourself. So challenge yourself. Try to figure this out. Again, your very first question: do I have a sphere or do I have a hemisphere? That will dictate what you have. Try it out. Alright, now we have a hemisphere on our hands. A hemisphere, and if you remember what a hemisphere is, a hemisphere takes that entire sphere and divides it by 2. So you actually have to take your volume, and remember your volume on a sphere is equal to 4/3 times pi times r cubed. Remember? But because we have a hemisphere, we have to take this entire thing and multiply it by half. Because a hemisphere is half of a sphere. So when you take half of your overall answer, you get your hemisphere amount. So you have half times 4/3, plug in, as an ugly 4, plug in your r, which is 15 cubed. When we cube 15, we have half times 4/3 times pi times 3,375. When you take 15 times 15 times 15. Then, again, I'm going to take it step by step, and I'm going to take 4 times 3,375, then divide it by 3. Okay, and I have 4,500, and my pi is still there. I'm still multiplying in there by pi. Now, again, I do like to take 4,500 times pi first. It doesn't matter which one you do. You could take 4,500 divided by 2, then multiply it by pi. I'm going to get my inside the parentheses first, which means 14,130. Then, because it is a hemisphere, don't forget, if you have a hemisphere, you have to divide your formula by 2. So we need to take 14,130 and divide that by 2 because we have a hemisphere. Hemisphere is half of a sphere. Okay? So when we divide that by 2, we get 7,065. And again, what is our units? You got it! Meters cubed. Meters cubed. Now, the one thing I do want you to notice, what is the surface area of a sphere? Surface area is equal to 4 pi r squared. What is your volume of a sphere? 4/3 times pi times r cubed. Then, you do need to know what a hemisphere is. Hemisphere is equal to half, hemisphere, takes a little bit to write, half of your sphere. Because 2 hemispheres equal a sphere. So you need to know this information. If you don't know it, try to remember it. Take this wonderful math homework to bed at night. Study it right before you go to bed. Come to school tomorrow and get her done. See ya.